Good evening, all. I'll go ahead and call this meeting of the Project Connect Community Advisory Committee to order. It's July 9, 2026. It's 5:04 p.m. and we're in the Austin Transit Partnership Office boardroom at 203 Colorado Street, Austin, Texas, 78701. The first item, of course, is the call to order. And as I call out your name, please go to it. This is Chair Azhar. I'm here. Vice Chair Summers.
Here.
Ms. Berry.
Here.
Mr. Gorse.
Here.
Mr. Handel.
Here.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Here.
Mr. Crossley.
Here.
Mr. Brooks.
Here.
And Constable Suits.
Here.
I'm going to call out the names. I don't see folks, but just to make sure, Marcel Garza, Liz McGeehee. Okay, that is all the folks present. This takes us to our next item, which is, of course, our land acknowledgement. And I'm hoping, Ms. Berry, that you can guide us through that.
Yes, thank you. To ground yourself before starting this meeting, it's important to talk about the history of this region. Long before it came to be known as Waterloo or Austin, this region has drawn people here for thousands of years, in part because of our waterways and the wealth of natural resources. This region has been home to the Tankua, the Coahuilteca, as well as the Comanche, Lipanapache, Sana, Humanos, and many others I may not have named who are also caretakers of this land. I highlight this history because Native and Indigenous peoples are routinely erased from the conversation, referred to as having disappeared or having been conquered. Native and Indigenous peoples are still here and present in what we now call Austin. The pursuit of white land ownership, profit, and so-called progress has harmed Black, Indigenous, and people of color in this city. The effects of the legacy of settler colonialism, the theft of land, slavery, and genocide are still felt and present with us today. It's vital to keep this history in mind as you do this important work and to make a commitment to stop perpetuating the cycle of violence against Black, Indigenous, and people of color.
Thank you so much, Committee Member Berry. This takes us to our first action item, which is approval of our June 11th CAC meeting minutes. Those were circulated earlier. Any edits or concerns that folks might have for those? If not, do I have a motion to approve the June 11th meeting minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Vice Chair Summers. His motion, we have a second from Committee Member Brooks. Any questions or comments on that? If not, all those in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye. Aye.
That passes unanimously, seeing all votes counted for.
Can I show us abstaining?
Of course, yes. So I'm going to re-record that vote. So we have currently essentially all other committee members voting in favor. Ms. McGeehee and Garza off, essentially absent. And then we have Ms. Berry as abstain.
Thank you.
Thank you for correcting me on that. My apologies, I didn't catch that earlier. Committee members, we have several action items, but thank you. I am skipping public comment as always and forgetting. My apologies. Do we have anybody signed up in advance? For folks who are virtual, if you would like to testify, please raise your hand and we can make sure that you have the ability to be able to speak to us. And I'll give a few moments if anybody online wishes to speak. We don't have anyone in the room either. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Banks, for reminding me of that. Committee members, if it's all fine with y'all, can we move it around so we do discussion items first and then go on to action items as necessary? Any concerns with that? Not hearing otherwise, I think we can start with our discussion items. And this was an item, Mr. Brooks, that you had brought to our attention, which is the Central Texas Construction Partnership Program, which is CPP and the CTX Go app. And I'm hoping that we can have a presentation, some questions on that. And thank you so much for being present here.
Hi there, I'm Heidi Ross with Atkins Realis, and I'm here today to talk with y'all about the construction partnership program. My colleague Carolina Baumanis is joining me. She's also with Atkins Realis. And then we do have the TxDOT project manager on the call, Laurent Escoto. He's here in case to listen in and answer any questions should something come up. So thank you for your time today. So we prepared about a 15-minute presentation. I'm going to start my clock here so I can give Carolina time to talk because she's going to present on the second half and I'll present on the first. But we'll walk through the overview of the program and then talk about the different program components. And then we'll talk about the CTX Go app, which is one of the technology components that we've developed out of the CPP program. So if you go to the next slide, I can do that here. So the Construction Partnership Program was a program that was established with a regional partnership with 6 partner agencies, including Austin Transit Partnership, because of the recognition that we have over 35 significant construction projects happening in the next decade in Central Texas, specifically in Central Austin. And so the leadership historically has managed those projects, the construction and the closures of roadways in silos. They try to coordinate, but there hasn't been a combining of that information to a centralized place. And so they did that for the reasons here, to prioritize public safety, to reduce community impacts, maintain mobility, keep the public informed, and to manage any surprises or conflicts with different agencies having construction projects going on at the same time. So just to kind of, I mentioned there's six partners in the Construction Partnership Program: TxDOT, Austin District, City of Austin, Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, Austin Transit Partnership, the Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority, which is the toll agency, and CAP Metro. So there's 3 different components to the Construction Partnership Program. One is developing a series of technology tools to pull data from the independent agencies' systems, permitting systems, and construction record-keeping systems into a common construction data platform. And once we have that data in a platform, we can then visualize it in a few ways. One is through the CTX Go app, which the different agency leaderships have agreed we want to have one message to the public for all of the construction activities. And so the app will be the commuter's way of accessing construction information. And then we also have a public communication program that is funded through the establishment of this interlocal agreement that all of the agencies have signed, that I'll go through in a second, so that we do have kind of what's called a one-stop shop. And then we're also not only coordinating with the public on the front end through the app, but on the back end, we have developed some tools that allow the practitioners and the engineers to coordinate the more technical details on their side so that we can coordinate that construction. So how does it help? This is when we came to the board in February for signature of the interlocal agreement with ATP, this is the slide that was shown, just talking about how does the CPP program help. If you first starting on the right side of the slide for public information, the CTX Go app allows us to share information with the public, right? Directly, they can go to this app and they can get the information. Not only that but we can share, we also have the ability to share the combined data set of all the construction information to third-party navigation providers so that they can have that information as well. Then also the agencies can inform the public about significant impacts through that app because we have push alerts to folks. They can choose a route in the app and they can choose, I want to be notified of any construction happening along my corridor today or Monday through Friday, or they can set the parameters and so we can push that information out to the public. And then on the coordination side with the agencies, it allows us to pull all this data together in one place. TxDOT is working with another provider on machine learning analysis so that we have all of this works on information. So now let's analyze and understand the impact to that, and we can make better operating decisions as part of this program. So it gives us a lot of power to make better operating decisions and manage the network more holistically. I mentioned earlier, probably the most challenging part of the whole project has been the interlocal agreement, not the technology tools. The interlocal agreement required, and a memo of understanding has been signed by all 6 agencies, and through that establishes the financial, the program for maintaining this program in hopefully perpetuity, but it's a 2-year interlocal agreement, and the memo of understanding pledges a 10-year commitment to this program. But the ILA is what financially binds the agencies to fund this program to allow us to continue to coordinate. And as I mentioned, also the ILA also establishes the public involvement board and the concept of a one-stop shop for executing marketing and advertising and communication. So it doesn't matter as a driver or a bus rider, whether I'm on a TxDOT road or we're talking about the ATP construction or it's on a city road, I still just want to complain to one person, right? I don't know who has jurisdiction over those roadways or those projects. So this allows the public to have one point of contact. And I've mentioned several times, but one of the main products of this program has been development of the CTX Go app. It's currently available, although there hasn't been a public release. It's available on Google and Apple stores, but there's not a public release planned until September. And so the listing of features, we don't need to get into much detail, but the check marks represent things that have been done in developing the app. We've had a series of development spurts, if you will. And so basically what we've pulled together is data on construction work zones and then the ability for people to personalize their experience in the app, both temporally and geographically. So I can say, I only drive in this road. I only want notices on crashes and work zones along this route. And I only want them Monday through Thursday, because that's when I commute to my job from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. or something like that. So it allows you to personalize that journey. And it allows you to explore and see when crashes and work zones are happening along in the network. One of the other things that we have done as part of the CTX Go app is when the leadership agreed that they wanted this to be the one face for the region, we have worked with the city of Austin to incorporate transportation demand management functionality. So encouraging people to get out of their vehicles and ride transit or use other non-single occupant vehicle means. So Carolina is going to talk about the addition of the TDM or transportation demand management components to the app in the next several slides.
Thank you, Heidi. Yeah, so as Heidi mentioned, the travel demand management components are being funded by the city through a grant called the Climate Pollution Reduction Grant. And when we started with this work, we first started with a discovery phase where we identified what user needs might be, user stories, to identify really what the vision should be for TDM features within CTX Go, right? We don't want to be implementing technology just for the sake of implementing technology. We want to make sure that it's actually addressing people's problems. So from that discovery phase, we created a roadmap to developing these TDM features into CTX Go. We call it the Now, Next, Later roadmap. So the Now band is actually that middle band, that bright green color, and those features are available in CTX Go now, and they represent the foundational features in order to enable the other more advanced features. So within CTX Go, you can log a trip, and it's done manually. And you can earn rewards. You can earn money. So that money is something that is redeemed through a Tango gift card, so e-gift cards. But anytime I go into CTX Go and I'm taking a trip from home to work or work to home and I log my trip, I can earn rewards. So the trips that earn rewards, again, are anything that's non-single occupancy vehicle. That includes walking, biking, scootering, transit, as well as carpooling. Right now, our development team is working on the features that are going to come out in phase 2. As Heidi mentioned, those are going to be available in September. And this is a really beefy update to CTX Go. There's a lot of changes coming. in terms of the TDM side of the house. So trip logging is actually going to be automatic in phase 2. There's going to be an option for people to activate it as manual if they don't want the automatic version. But what that means is that CTX Go will actually be able to detect when you're traveling between home and work and allow you to automatically earn rewards. There's also...
Sorry to interrupt real quick, but there's a message in the chat about slowing down for the interpreters. So sorry to interrupt.
Thank you, Ms. Berry. Yes, if you can slow down, our interpreters have to catch up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. So as I was saying, users can log their trips automatically or manually through CTX Go come phase 2. There's also enhancements to Trip Planner. So the way Trip Planner is currently laid out in CTX Go is such that each mode is shown pretty much individually, but now in phase 2, all those modes are going to be shown together so that a user can say, hey, I'm going from home to work, and I want to compare how long it takes me to walk, ride my bike, take transit, or drive my car so that they can make that decision to potentially take a non-single occupancy vehicle mode. There's also gamification components being added into phase 2. So think badges and tiers, kind of like sort of like your airline mileage type of concept. So there's bronze, silver, gold, depending on how many low or no emissions trips you take. There's also leaderboards where you will see how you rank compared to other people using the TDM features. There's also contextual nudges. So within Trip Planner, if you are making, a trip from home to work and there's maybe construction on your route, the app will say, there's construction on your planned route, try transit, that sort of thing. There's also carpool matching available. There's carpool matching available in phase 1, but in phase 2, we're actually making it native to the app. So users of CTX Go can go into CTX Go, create listings, and match with other people making other listings in CTX Go to find a ride to work or home. There's also going to be a guaranteed ride home program. So people that are doing carpooling, if for whatever reason their carpool buddy can't take them home, they can apply for this guaranteed ride home program and get a Lyft or Uber ride reimbursed. And then there's also transit fare access. So users will be able to see how much transit costs within CTX Go, and there will be a link between CTX Go to the transit app to show them, this is the route that you take, and then this is how you pay for it. And then in phase 3, the vision is to actually embed that directly into CTX Go. So instead of the user having that flow from CTX Go to the transit app, they will actually be able to pay for transit within the CTX Go app. Phase 3, we're also looking at adding van pool matching within CTX Go. So those are just some of the features. There's other features that we've talked about for phase 3. I don't have them all shown here, but that's something our team is currently working with the city on to define further. So in this next slide, I'm going to show a walkthrough of what carpooling looks like. There's a QR scan component. This is what it looks like in the app today. So this is the manual version of carpooling. So you can play the video.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to be doing a short demonstration today on the CTX Go app. And for this demonstration, I will be demonstrating a
Sorry, I just want to pause the video there very quick. So even though this example is carpooling, I just want to show that this is where you would, this is sorry, this is where you would select the kind of non-SOV mode that you're taking. So you can see host carpool, join carpool, public transit, bicycling and walking. Now, in the next update, it's going to actually say bicycling / scootering, but just want to show that this is where you would select your mode if you're going to log a trip manually. So we don't have enough time for the follow-up video, but hopefully that gives everyone the flavor of how carpool works and how the other modes work. You go to the next slide. So next steps for the phase 2 set of TDM features is user acceptance testing. So we have a stakeholder group that will have access to a beta version of the app where they will actually have the opportunity to use it, test it out, give us their feedback. And during that week, we will also host an in-person workshop with the stakeholder group so that we can have more in-depth discussions about their experience using the new features. And then our planned release date to the app stores is September 11th. We will have a public launch event to really advertise this to the public so that they know it's coming. That date is still TBD and that planning is still under works, but those are the next steps. And I think with that, that is the end of our presentation. Thank you.
We're happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much. Folks online, again, feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hands. We'll make sure that we're recognizing you as we're doing that. And I'll open it up for questions from anyone. Go ahead, Mr. Gorse.
Oh, the video.
Yeah, so I'm curious about I know it will give, I know it's intended to give a message. It sounds like if there's construction, and I'm wondering if that also applies to construction that would close off a sidewalk. I know for me, like particularly as a blind person, I might be walking down North Loop and then all of a sudden I find that the sidewalk is blocked and I need to be on the other side of the street. And it might have been nice if I'd known that in advance somehow. And sometimes it might be the city doing work on the street that's also blocking off the sidewalk. And sometimes I think it might be a developer that's making changes, maybe modifying a driveway or something like that.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's something that's come up several times. So the initial program is geared at identifying capacity reductions on the roadway. But the longer term vision is to be able to accommodate, bike lane and sidewalk closures, but that's not part of the current program. I think one of the things that we do denote, though, is the lanes that are being closed and the direction of the closures. So through that information, you might be able to discern, there's, like, for example, on Colorado Street, there's construction happening in the northbound direction. So that might give a pedestrian, information that maybe I should be on the other side of the street instead of in the northbound direction of travel. But that's as good as we get with this current program scope as it is today.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Berry, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Very exciting. I think this app can be very helpful. I have a couple questions. With the CTMRA, and maybe this is me just being confused. I know there was like the Houston toll. So like is Houston that's always been a little confusing to me. I know I get my like I'm getting charged by Houston toll, but I notice on the 6 groups it says Central Texas CTMRA. So can you clarify, like, is Houston toll involved as well, or is it just CTMRA, or can you help clarify that for me?
Yeah, so it's the Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority, which is the toll agency here in Austin. But they have what's called interoperability. So they have compatibility between toll agencies so that you can have a toll tag anywhere in Texas. And then recently, CTRMA, the local agency, contracted out with Hectra, the Houston agency, to do their back-end office billing. So that's why you're getting an invoice from Hectra for the roadways here in Central Texas that you're working on. But the agency that is actually, it's just the back office billing part that they've contracted out to Hectra. Does that?
Okay, got it. So it's still CTMRA that's doing the like planning and everything. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
That's helpful. And I was curious of with the 6 organizations that are involved, who are is it just several different representatives from the organization, or can you go a little bit further into like the 6 organizations?
Sure. So each of the organization appointed stakeholder representatives, and it's generally the executive directors. For example, for Campo, it was Ashby Johnson. He just retired, but the executive director of Campo. For CTRMA, it's the executive director, James Bass. For City of Austin, it's Assistant Public Works Director, Jim Dale. So it's kind of the leadership of these programs. And then there's also public information representatives that join that group as well, because Carolina and I are technical folks, right? We're working on the technical projects, but there's the public outreach component that has to be coordinated with those people who focus and specialize in public outreach and making sure the messaging is consistent with what the public can understand.
Okay, that's super helpful too. And along those lines, my last question is this going to be offered in different languages?
Yes, it's currently already in Spanish. Are there other language choices? It's just English and Spanish.
Are there plans to do more languages?
Not currently, but definitely can take that feedback and add it to our roadmap of options for the future.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Committee Member. Committee Member Crossley.
Hi, thanks so much for that presentation. I used to be on the board of CTRMA, so it may or may not matter, but there's actually 2 toll agencies in our region. TxDOT has toll roads, and TxDOT used to manage toll tags, and TxDOT got out of the business and sold its toll tag sort of business to Harris County. So if you had a Tex tag, you now have a Hectra tag. But I would assume TxDOT's toll roads are part of this as TxDOT being a partner. And it's all confusing. And also CTRMA is not supposed to just be a toll agency. It also could provide light rail and everything else. I think this is very exciting, and it really is like a comprehensive program for our region. So I just wonder, so I have a couple questions and then a couple assumptions that I think are very important. Who owns this project? Is it truly a cooperative entity where those 6 entities have votes, or is there like one entity doing it and the others sign on? Or is this entity its own entity? How does that work?
Well, the interlocal agreement defines the participation. To date, the work that's been done has been, other than the transportation demand management functionality that Carolina went over, the technology tool development associated with the construction work zones has been funded by TxDOT with the cooperative, goodwill that we're going to set up this program that was established through execution of the interlocal agreement. Through the interlocal agreement, each agency will post funds to be provided to TxDOT for execution of the CPP program going forward. So it's truly being funded by all of the agencies going forward. And to answer your question about, there are boards established. There's a public involvement board, there's a operations board, and there is a data governance committee that I don't have the information off the top of my head. I'm happy to provide it to you later, but there's like a certain representative from each of the agencies that votes, and I don't have the details, but it is established so that all the agencies who contribute financially participate in those boards and the voting.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess what I'm thinking is that, Campo is supposed to be our regional decision-making entity, but then we also have movability, which in many ways has duplicate functions as this app has. And so long-term for our region, like what is the ideal decision-making system for fulfilling these functions? And is it confusing for the user? And so just thinking about those issues, long-term, how this can be optimized while the sort of product y'all have done seems great. So that's what I'm trying to sort out. Because I think, Movability has a program where you can download an app and log your trips, and it encourages you to not have to drive so much and things like that, And so is this competing with that now, and is that confusing?
Yeah, thanks, Jay. That's a great point. And fortunately, we've been having conversations with both Campo and Movability. So the goal is for us to strategize and unify everything under one place, right? So we don't want to compete necessarily with one another. So again, Campo and Movability have been providing input on both of these. Not both of these, on the TDM approach when it comes to carpooling, guaranteed ride home, and the vision is for all those things to fold up under CTX Go eventually.
Okay. And so then the final, the point being is that I think Mike's point is essential, and that I think it is always a mistake to focus on commutes and commuters and to view people as drivers or bus riders. And ideally, I would think this app should be for all the humans of the region, and for all the purposes they might need to know about these kind of problems, because commutes are a very small amount of trips. It's only 15% of trips. Most of the things we do are not commuting. And a lot of times people aren't driving. And so that decision to focus on commuting, and commuters are more white and wealthy and male than the regular trip person. And so that decision to kind of focus in this way is problematic, and it would be best to fix it. But this sort of 6-party agreement probably makes that kind of nuance very difficult. So I would just encourage, however possible, to sort of work towards all the people of the region and to work towards information that's useful for people when they're trying to walk to the store using a wheelchair. And exactly as important would be what I hope for. Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So we'll take that feedback back.
Thank you, Committee Member Crossley. Committee Member Brooks.
Notice the reference to the van pool program.
Microphone.
Is it working?
Yeah.
Okay. I noticed references to a van pool program. I believe is that Campo's van pool program? Okay. What about Cap Metros?
That is actually a great question. So Vanpool is something that's envisioned for phase 3. So it's not something that's going to be available in September. So we're still having those conversations with Enterprise Vanpool. And actually, I appreciate you bringing up Cap Metro because I don't think we had that on the radar to include theirs, but that's a good point of feedback.
Apparently, it's so successful that that the board of Cap Metro doesn't pay much attention to it. It just runs by itself, and the vehicles get distributed and filled and so on. And we were looking at what they've done.
Thank you.
On the carpool component, is there money involved in that, or is that a voluntary thing?
It's a voluntary thing. So you earn money for taking a carpool, but if you choose to be a rider or or a driver, there's no money involved.
Okay. I'm just kind of thinking about law enforcement is coming over. Some of these people have been vetted. You want to jump in a car with a stranger based on an app, and have they been vetted? And
Yeah.
And I'm not against the concepts at all, because I was in the City Urban Transportation Commission a long time ago, and before Capital Metro was invented, and we did the park and ride at Lamar and Anderson Lane, and the idea was park and ride and people carpooling to that location, rapid bus, eventually a train coming downtown, and then our cute little 6-seat trolley shuttles to moving around the last mile. So my mind's just thinking right now, going back to that old original concept about, especially with Waymo and what Tesla's doing, where we could have them feed into the rail line, gather point, and using this data. And absolutely what you need for dispatching it. I don't have to worry about a female jumping in a car with a sex offender if they're going into a Waymo because there's no driver. And that's my thought process.
That's definitely a very interesting thought. We've talked about concerns that people might have, right? Matching with strangers. So, we do have preferences in the app that a person can set, and all the communication and coordination happens off the app. So it's really kind of on the user to talk to the person, vet the person, and make that agreement to, jump in the car with them.
Yeah. I was also one of the ones fighting with Uber when they first came to town about doing background checks on their drivers. So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, definitely. There's also an option too that based on the email you sign up with, if you use your work email, you can actually match with people that have your same work email address. Okay. So you're carpooling with people that go to your office.
I like it. What's the regional scope of this?
So for
Travis County or just Capital Metro service area or?
No, even bigger. So even the CARTS area. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's five of the 6
counties.
Campo counties. I forget who's not included.
Burnett.
Okay.
Everyone
when I was smirking over during your presentation, I was looking at WAS. It's going, well, maybe if they can get that in the WAS, people coming in from other counties could figure out what they need to do because they're not used to driving on Austin roads. And well, here's the surprise of the week: driving into Austin with construction.
Right.
Right. Yes.
Okay. I like it.
Other committee members with questions, feedback, or comments? I know go ahead.
this is really just a comment. It's kind of a funny one. Like there's a construction project going on right into the entrance of my neighborhood community. And I keep reporting, you can't turn left anymore. And like Waze cannot understand that. And it's like, turn left, turn left. And I keep reporting it to Waze, like, I can't turn left. And they're like, thanks, this is now resolved. And then the next time it's like, I'm going, it's like, please turn left. And I'm like, no, I can't. So like, I just think like these things are very real, right? So like, I think those types of communication being more coordinated will be helpful to people because that's really, we do use those apps, not always for commuting, right? Like coming back from Target or whatever. So yeah, it's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, committee member. I guess I have several questions and comments. I'll try to keep this short. I think before I go, we did have a comment for someone. If community member wants to provide feedback on the app, will there be like a functionality for someone to do that, or do you want to share that?
Yes, there's a feedback place on the app that users can just go and leave, just type in a message and we will respond to those.
Appreciate that. And just so I understand it correctly, the data is being sort of like real time being pulled from those various websites or apps or whatever. I guess I'm just trying to understand, like, would someone, if a bus is non-functional and gets, cut out on the UMO app or on any of the Cap Metro apps, does that automatically reflect here to be like, this bus is out of service or like this time period is no longer available?
Yes, if that we're using, the user can choose which route planner they want to use, whether they want to use Google or Waze or another Apple. So if that information is being sent by the agency to those providers, and so it is considered in the route planning.
I know that all of Cap Metro information is in transit apps. So if there's any changes in service, it all shows up. I actually don't know, maybe even in Google Maps. I don't use Google Maps for that.
It does.
Okay, so that would be perfect. Microphone.
Microphone. You need to start including or seeing whether you can get an agreement with Transit, the app, which has Trip Planner.
Right. I have that written down. So thank you for that feedback. Yes, we talked about before the meeting.
I will say for the TDM feature side of the house, there is that integration from CTX Go to Transit app. And then the future vision for phase 3 is to have those components actually fully integrated into CTX Go, including UMO, so you can do payments.
I do want to say, I feel like when we had a conversation in this committee, and thank you so much for coming here, we were really looking at sort of construction impacts, but I do think there's a life to this project and this entire app that goes way beyond, honestly, the construction impacts. Like there's a really great way of integrated transportation, mobility, understanding. Things that I would just like to mention just for future phases to think about. It would be really interesting to see, if there was a way that you can favorite who you're carpooling with. And so essentially there's a way that they get prioritized every time they're around. So, you're like, work with this person before I know who they are. I feel very comfortable with them. The other thing I was also going to say was from the Cap Metro, and I don't know what CARTS does for this, but Cap Metro has a pretty robust system for providing free passes, and there's certain locations and entities from which you can gain it. It would be great to have that information when the payment stuff becomes online. It makes sense to say, and if you cannot afford this, or you would like some kind of subsidized ticket, there is available. And Cap Metro, I think they've changed their rules recently, so I'm not sure, but they have a very robust system that really provides that assistance to residents. And then the last thing I was just thinking, and I'm not sure, but it could be, we have so many mobility projects going on with these six agencies. This would be a question for them, but does it make sense in the future to have, as we're looking at places for people to provide feedback on any mobility-based planning or projects, like from the public sector side, if we want to get feedback from community, I wonder if there's a way to have that plugged in. And what I mean by that is, we have like the City of Austin has a Speak Up Austin page, there's different projects, you'll often miss them. But if your central transit app where you're like using all of your services, if there's like something that says upcoming projects or something you want to provide feedback to ATP or city, I think that would be a great option. Just feels like, I don't know what that would look like from a software perspective, but if there was a way to just link back to those I can see there being a lot of value because it is hard to find those links sometimes.
And that kind of goes with the one-stop shop, right? So that's good feedback. I was just going to speak to your comment about it feeling larger than this project, right? So that was the vision. That's why we have a memo of understanding and an interlocal agreement. So the memo of understanding, it was really important to the leadership from all the agencies to say, this is not just about I-35 or downtown construction. This is about moving toward regional management of the system, right? And so the initial step is we're going to look at these construction projects. And one of the things I didn't mention, because it's getting into details, but the CPP, the interlocal agreement also funds a joint traffic management center. So initially that'll focus on management of traffic, like on the technical side, the practitioner side of managing the network holistically. But the vision is established that we want this to be a regional operations center, not just focused on construction, but longer term, managing the system as a whole.
Okay, so we basically, tanker truck flips over on some road and it's blocked and it's going to be, we're going to have hazmat. It's going to take 4 or 5 hours. That will feed into the system. Are y'all tightening the 911 for police actions or heavy collisions where we know it's going to be blocked for a good while?
Right. Well, and those are already handled by the emergency command center that's already in place.
Okay.
What happens is when that emergency command center was put in place, the day-to-day operational stuff was never combined. It just handles things like that when there is like an emergency situation. The agencies are already all together.
Okay, with that, we'll push into your app though.
Oh, yes. It'll get.
Okay, that's right. Okay,
Yes.
yeah, good.
Construction is not construction is not considered an emergency.
Not the day-to-day routine construction, no. That's what this is designed for.
I think to that sort of like long-term, I think of a Western grant funding, which is, and I don't know if you have a top of head, what is kind of funding even might be different. I guess I'm just trying to understand like, what is the overall project cost for maintaining this? Oh. Slide microphone should be on. And folks online here? Let's try that. Probably is very all here.
Here, use mine.
Can you all hear me now? Oh, perfect. Thank you for catching that for us. I was just asking a question, I guess, related to funding. If you know off the top of your head, kind of what the annual funding need is moving forward. I know that might expand as the phases have more features to look into, but just roughly, what does that look like?
I don't know that number off the top of my head. I know it's, I hate to give you a number because I don't want to say incorrectly, but it's under 3 million a year per year, and it reduces over time as we develop out the technology tool. Then it becomes operations and maintenance focused. But I can get back to you with the numbers. I just don't have those off the top of my head.
I appreciate that. And I'll just make a plug to our urban mobility commissioners from the city of Austin. Worth thinking about, and I don't know, honestly, I know the TDM has changed so much with the parking requirements, but all that said, if somebody could pay some of their TDM requirements as funding the app, that could be part of it. It's like a private person to the city. That could be one of their TDM points that they can get. So just thinking aloud if there's a way to have essentially the private enterprise piece kick in at some point. And then the last question I have is just, I know you already talked about sort of language features. Can you talk about any accessibility features for different abilities as well? What does that look like?
Oh, yeah. So the overall app is designed to a 4th grade reading level. So we're hoping to appeal to the general public of all education levels. I don't know if you want to just, yeah.
There's also colorblind accessibility, so making sure that the colors are colorblind friendly. And then another accessibility thing would just be the dual language, the Spanish and English.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. And then my last question would be, just because I know we lost audio during that, I know you're not going to be able to walk through it completely, but can you maybe just briefly describe what folks were seeing in the video for folks online who might not have been able to
Sure
understand
thing.
it?
Yeah, so in the video, there's a commute rewards menu within CTX Go. Once you click that button, it takes you to a page where you can input your home and work address. So in order for you to apply, be eligible for commute rewards, it has to be between home and work. Now that might change in the future, but just how the grant was just, designed, that's how it has to be for now. And then from there, you click select mode. So that was the green button at the bottom. And then when you get to select mode, that's where you see the different options. Am I joining a carpool? Am I hosting a carpool, walking, biking, or taking transit? So the example was joining a carpool, which requires in the manual version of the app for you to start your trip. And then from there, if you're a passenger, you have to scan a QR code. And if you're a driver, you have to generate a QR code. That QR code is what allows us to link people to the same ride. Because otherwise, without getting too technical, it's very hard and computationally expensive for the back end to figure out where these people actually in a vehicle together. So just it makes that verification faster. And that's something I didn't mention during the presentation, but all of these trip trajectories are being verified in terms of their trip signature, their speed, their location. If it's transit, is it aligned with an existing transit route? All sorts of things and different characteristics to make sure that people aren't gaming the system, right? We want to make sure that we're incentivizing folks that are actually taking these kinds of trips.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for walking folks through that. And I know I said was my last thing, but it wasn't. I lied, which is future phases. I think one thing that would be interesting to think of is how we can interplay like air travel as part of that, because our airport is going to be going through such massive, we're going to be looking at, of course, the second terminal and everything in an ideal future world would be great, particularly for folks who are out of town, if this can be the one-stop shop where you can know which gates are closed or not. Again, I know that's interlinked partially with the city of Austin, but our airport is about to go through a massive project. And I know there's going to be a lot of moving out of gates. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from anyone? Well, thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, committee members. Just to be respectful of our staff's time, and because we've been really having you jump these, I would love to go to staff updates at this time and go through it with our staff. As we do that, I do want to acknowledge that for Mr. Peter Parthmiller, who's been with us for such a long time from the City of Austin Project Connect office, this will be his last meeting with us. Isn't that correct? You're going to be missed. I'm sure folks want to share a few words, but I would love if you want to just share anything with us or say anything. We would really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm Peter Parthmiller with the City of Austin. Thank you very much, Aves. I have accepted a new job within my own department. So not leaving the city, but leaving Project Connect's office. And so this will be my last meeting as staff liaison for the city. My colleague, Carla Burrell, who is in the Project Connect office, will take over those responsibilities for us going forward. But yeah, so I will still be in the city within Austin Communications and Engagement, but no longer with Project Connect. Although I've been telling everyone that I have been interested and involved in Project Connect for a very long time and will continue to stick my nose in your business. And so you may see me here at meetings in the future and definitely at engagement events. And so So I just wanted to say thank you to all the committee members for your time and your work that you've put into the program. It's making it better and it's making it a reality. And so I very much look forward to seeing you again and working with it working with you again. But yeah, that's what I have to say. I have one staff update, and Carla will have another.
Before you do, I do just want to say thank you so much, Mr. Barthmuller. It's been an absolute pleasure and honor working with you. You've been an amazing liaison. I know we're in very good hands with Carla, who's I know has already been engaged and listening to all of us. So thank you so much for taking that position up. But I know you're going to be missed just because it's just your voice and the expertise that you bring. And I'm excited that you're still going to be around in the Project Connect office. And I would wholeheartedly welcome you to come knock on our doors and, do some rabble rousing with us. We're always happy to do that.
Thank you very much.
If any committee member wants to share any comments, they're welcome to do that. If not, I'll turn to staff to also, of course, just go through their updates as well. Oh, Ms. Bray, go ahead.
No, I'm so mad I'm not there to tell you in person and to give you a hug or high five or whatever in person. You've been so helpful. And so especially someone that was relatively new for a while, I always felt like I could lean on you. So thank you so much. And I hope, as Yvette said, please come back and don't be a stranger. You've been really wonderful. So thank you for everything.
Absolutely. You're welcome. And thank you. Thank you. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. You're welcome to give your update, and then I'll turn to Cap Metro and ATP staff as well.
Absolutely. For overall city update, tomorrow is the day that the city manager is scheduled to release the proposed budget for the next fiscal year 2027. So it should be posted online. Fingers crossed that it will make it. He will definitely be at City Hall presenting it to City Council next Thursday. And so we invite you to City Hall to see that, to watch it on ATXN, to view it on, to take a look through the budget online, which can be found at austintexas.gov/budget. So it will take you right there. And then over the next month or so, all 10 city council members will host budget meetings in their districts. So, and those dates and locations are also on that website, austintexas.gov/budget. And Carla has an update for planning.
Yes, yes. And I'm a planner by trade and education. I will not be filling his shoes to that extent. So the one update, the ETOD station area team is preparing materials for the next round of community engagement for the ERC planning initiative. Materials include information about each station, along the Austin light rail system, a preferred growth scenario refined from community feedback, and the proposed connectivity map. This information will be presented to the community during public engagement events in August, to include a virtual meeting on Wednesday, August 26th via Zoom, focus group sessions on Friday, August 28th at the Ruiz Branch Library, an in-person open house on Saturday, August 29th at the Grove Riverside site, and a Speak Up Austin survey open from August 12th through September 7th.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I know we have Ms. Ortiz online from Cap Metro. I know, Ms. Ortiz, if you had any updates as well.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Peter. You will be missed. So it's been a while working with you, and it's been such a pleasure. As far as Cap Metro updates, our budget will also be coming out soon. So please, I'll share our Cap Metro alerts here in the chat as well for everyone. But if you sign up for our Cap Metro alerts, you'll be the first to receive when all the budget information is available. And we also have plans to come out to your meeting next month. And that is all as far as updates.
Thank you, Ms. Ortiz. ATP?
Yeah, for ATP, we've always been committed to ensuring the CAC remains informed about the status of Austin Light Rail as the project advances. So if it hasn't been posted yet, tonight or this evening, we will be posting the regular board meeting agenda for next Wednesday. You will see on the agenda that there's an item related to the light rail vehicle procurement award. So the board will hear about this presentation from ATP staff, and then we'll be looking forward to sharing more with y'all once the board has a chance to consider the item. We are happy to share the link to the board presentation following next week's meeting and look forward to bringing more dialogue about the vehicles in the near future. We know that's been something that y'all have been talking about, or Ruben. I know Ruben has interest in it, as well as many people in the city has interest of what the train will be looking like as well. So we'll bring that forward. And then, of course, I think we'll have some budget information probably next month as well. And then you all should have received an email from Katie Houston. I gave her pretty much your board chair emails is the ones I have that I did give to her. She is the the external auditor here at Austin Transit Partnership. She just wanted to remind you that she's still interested in getting feedback for next year's audit plan. On the 24th of June is when they sent the email to each member of the CAC. So if you hadn't seen it, maybe go back and check your emails, do a search for the 24th. And then she'll follow up with some of y'all tomorrow as well. So you should be getting another email from her tomorrow. And then she says, if anyone's having trouble assessing the survey, you can feel free to tell them to reach out to her. And her email is Katie Houston at atptx.org. So y'all can reach out to her and she'll help you out with the survey.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mr. Banks. Any comments from any of our committee members?
Hey, can I ask?
Yep, go ahead, Mr. Crossley.
Just I think we heard about City of Austin budget and Cap Metro budget. And so just if our group would like to submit recommendations, I guess the question for them is, if we're going to hear about it from Cap Metro next month, is it okay if we adopt comments the month after? Is that still timely? And then similarly with City of Austin, when would be too late?
Do you mind if I shelve that for a second, Ms. Summers? That's a good conversation. I do intend to have it. Ms. Summers, can we go ahead?
Yeah, I just wanted to say big thanks, for your time with us. I didn't get a chance before, Mr. Parthing-Miller. We really appreciate clear communication, problem solving, and the agendas always. I'm on those emails and such. So we really, really appreciate all you've brought. And thanks to all the team for all the updates this time around. Thank you.
I second all of that. Thank you. Committee members, what I'll do is I'll go to our action item B, the CAC budget recommendations. Again, this was a placeholder in case we had any. So let me talk through this, and staff, please correct me if I'm wrong. All of the budgets will become available. The ATP and Cap Metro will be adopted their budgets in September. So we will still have time at our next meeting if we want to make a recommendation as a body, and I'll make sure the action item is on there that we can do that, and it would still be timely. If we make recommendations in the following month, then it becomes a little challenging because we'll have to see where we align with the board meetings. Looking at staff to make sure that that sounds correct. However, on the city side, it's a little more tricky. The city budget gets adopted in August. We had a conversation to see when we want to ask people to come for presentations and stuff. And because the budget had not been released, it just didn't work. We're off by a day. So on those odd scheduling things. Having said that, we can still make a recommendation in the next, at the next meeting. It will just be more challenging because it will be arriving, if I'm thinking like a few days before budget adoption. So to be honest, like how effective we are in sharing our, what we want to send to council, that's something. So I would say, particularly for City of Austin budget recommendations, if there's something that you all are individually feeling strongly about, please reach out to council or others. Make sure that you're sharing that. We can, of course, share that through the CAC as well. But just from a timely perspective, I just would want to bring that up. Ms. Summers.
Yeah, I just wanted to say with that, because on Urban Transportation Commission, we do a budget recommendation. And the city's preferred timeline these days is that you make recommendations in March to give them time to incorporate those in their budget process. So they definitely have the most complex budget process of the entities, I think. And so, I mean, long term, if we want to actually, I mean, I think there's still work to be done. If we see something in the budget that's really troubling us, then we can, in our own capacity, connect with council, or, we can make a recommendation, see if it lands with council. But I think like long term for this body, if we really want to impact something, we should start to think about making a recommendation in our March meeting. That's sort of the deadline that council has given the other, City of Austin boards and commissions. So, yeah.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Mr. Crossley, did you want to go ahead?
Yeah, well, okay. Can I propose that we have it on the agenda for February 27? I think I've brought it up every year I've been on this committee, and we've never ever had a discussion about City of Austin budget. I don't think. So can we do that next January?
Yes, noted. And definitely do that. One thing I'll just mention that has made it challenging is that we won't be able to get a budget presentation. So I think that's where we've gotten stuck in the past. Doesn't mean we can't overcome it like the other commissions do, but certainly we'll put that on there.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. As a sideline note, Travis County kicks off its budget talks in February in all of the department and offices. Proposed budgets are due to the Planning and Budget Office by the end of April. And then by the end of July, that thing will be put forth for public comment. But the earlier, I agree with everyone about getting on this in February of 2027. The earlier you get into the process, the more impact you're going to have.
Thank you. Mr. Crossley, go ahead.
I needed to fall asleep due to a time zone change. So I actually went over in detail the Cap Metro budget process. Is now a good time to?
Yes, let me just let Mr. Crossley
Okay.
finish and then we'll turn to you. And then I'm sorry. I'm going to let Mr. Crossley finish and then turn to you. Mr. Crossley, go ahead.
I guess I was just thinking about the, let's see, our subcommittee on anti-displacement funding had a bunch of, I thought, really good discussions with city staff and recommendations on those. And I'm just realizing now that some of those were meant as proposals to council on how to make sure next year's budget sort of allowed those funds to be optimized and stuff. And so that might be the most important thing. Is there not, was there nothing from all that we needed to communicate? And maybe they've already integrated it. So maybe the CAC actually already adopted a recommendation back when we did all that work. So we could just sort of pull that back up if there's something.
Yes, so the CSC did vote on it and that was sent to council. What I might work with City of Austin staff is I'll review it to see if we have other items that are sort of outside of the scope of the actual anti-displacement funds. And if it makes sense, we might ask for it to be distributed again as just a reminder.
Okay,
so
great.
Because it is already approved by this body, I feel very comfortable sending it again. So we should be good in incorporating that. The other thing, while we're on this subject, I do want to just ask y'all, we're scheduling, we have several items right now that could only come to us by August or September, which means that we now have a little crunch. Do folks still want a budget-related meeting in August? Would that help, particularly for Cap Metro and ADP? We can hear from City Cap Project Connect office and others as well. But that would mean that we have some other items that will get pushed a little further down the lane. It's just like a straw poll. Any strong thoughts one way or another? Go ahead, Mr. Brooks.
According to Kevin Conlon, July 27th is when they will actually release the budget proposal to the board of directors. Up until August 12th, they're still making presentations to internal committees. So I would say if we gave feedback or agreed on feedback for the Cap Metro budget anytime up until August 12th or probably mid-August, it would still be listened to at that time.
I really appreciate that, Mr. Brooks. And that was my understanding from APP staff as well, with their timelines are very matching that. The city is the one that has it earned. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. I was saying, thank you, Mr. Brooks, for sharing that. My understanding is the ATP has a similar timeline, so it should work out well. The city is the one that has the early timeline. Any strong feelings about maybe postponing, like we have the ETOD conversation, we have some acquisition related conversations. Any concern on pushing them back by 1 month so we can do budget in August?
What were the two that would get pushed? It was ETOD and what was
ETOD, and I don't know if that is ready to come to us. The other one is we've asked Austin Housing to come and talk to us acquisition related to what Ms. Almanza's request was.
Yeah.
And they were not ready. They could not, there was folks who were traveling, so they couldn't make it this meeting, but they will be available for the August meeting. But if we do budget, I would recommend against putting all of that, because 3 budgets, last time we did it, 2 hours is a tough time to get through everything. Okay, not hearing anything, I'll work with staff to see what makes sense. It looks like the folks might not have strong opinions one way or another. The last question is, are there folks, and I might do a straw poll, raise of hands, are there folks who are really interested in working on any budget recommendations? Because that would mean working in advance of next month's meeting.
I could try to make myself available. I'm pretty busy, but
Appreciate that. Ms. Brooks, are you interested as well?
I will probably spend some time on the Cap Metro budget just because it's a topic of interest. But if that is useful to this committee, I would also do it.
That sounds good. Anybody else who has thoughts about that?
I'm willing to serve, and I think it's important. But I'm not in a position where I have things where I know we need to try to suggest. So if there is a meeting, I will try to attend and think about it, and then know what we have to suggest.
That sounds good. What I might do is take this conversation to our governance working group. We have currently Vice Chair Summers and myself are on there. Committee Member Gonzalez is on there as well. We do have 2-person spots. If y'all don't mind, I will take you off that committee very soon. If y'all are fine with that working group, we can add you both to that working group as we move to our next action item. And that way we can do this work under the governance working group and bring it back to the full committee, if that works for folks. Perfect. I'll get to that as I get to that. And then my last request would be for the Urban Transportation Commission, since y'all would have done your recommendations, can you circulate those through staff for everyone as well?
yes, we can.
And with a reminder to everybody that that is, of course, city commission, so they're very city targeted recommendations.
Yeah, and we got really, it was very detailed.
I appreciate that. I would just be interested to look at it, if nothing else, to just support what you all are already doing. Okay, thank you all so much. This takes me to our second action item, which is appointment to working groups. We'll wait for Ms. McGehee to do it, the big stuff. But for now, I'll go ahead and make a motion to say that we're going to appoint Mr. Brooks and Mr. Crossley both to our governance working group. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair. Motion made by myself, chairs, seconded by Vice Chair Summers, appointment of Brooks and Crossley to the governance working group so that they can work on the budget. All those in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Yep, that passes unanimously. So we're good. I was just trying to see if Mr. Gonzalez he's off the dais. So we should be good to go on that. I'll probably circulate an email and start that conversation. Separately, what I would say for other committee members is the 5 of us will not be able to talk to you because of quorum rules. If you have any thoughts, recommendations, anything you have from elsewhere, please send them to Mr. Banks and Sophie, and they'll make sure that it's circulated with the working group as well. So we don't want to not include you. Ms. Berry, please go ahead.
Just to make sure, so we can't talk like if, for example, if I had a question I wanted to talk to you, like I wanted to reach out to you of us, I can't do that. I have to go to Janice or Sophie.
Question would be different. Like if you have just like a random question, that's totally fine. But if we're going to be having any discussion about budget recommendations that we will bring to this body, then that would not be allowable because we're already on our core subquorum of 5 people.
Even if it's just me and you one-on-one?
Yes. Yes, because
Okay.
it creates a walking quorum issue. If you just have like questions regarding the budget process, feel free to reach out. Like it's more like out just general scope as a resident and community member in the city. But if you have anything related to the business of the CAC, then please go through Sophia and Giannis.
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Okay, this brings us to working group updates. The working groups that I'm on, we haven't met. We do not have any updates. I don't know if other folks from other working groups have any updates, including with the, I'm going to forget the ADP committee that exists now. I know, Mr. Brooks, you're our representative on there.
We have not met.
Okay, not met, so we do not have any. This takes me to future meetings and agenda items. As I mentioned, staff and I are tracking. We have several things in the burner. We'll bring them back, including Mr. Brooks, your request for looking at preservation, the preservation related conversation that was happening at the city for multifamily preservation. The Councilmember Duchin was leading, so that is also in the works. Any other future agenda items that folks want to request at this time? Apart from the budget, which I'll make a note, is noted, and we'll make sure that that's part of our conversation early spring next year. Yes, Ms. Berry.
And maybe I'm off. Sorry, I'm feeling so confused. I missed 1 month and I'm like so lost. Sorry about that. But I know at one point, I feel like at one point, and especially after the presentation from Francis Lee Jordan, we were talking about like the businesses and the role of the businesses, and there was something that came up like when we talked to housing, and so I just didn't know where we were with that, with like.
It's already coming back. So it's already on the thing. Staff, I'm not going to speak for staff, but I want to say September or October, sometime in the fall, they will have recommendations that they will be bringing back. Just to let you know, staff also reached out to me to see if it made sense to have just like a brief conversation with the anti-displacement working group. I recommended, so we might have a working group recommendation, not recommendation, working group conversation on that piece sometime before that, but certainly mid-fall, we will be getting a presentation back on that. And that's on the list along with ETOD. They're both probably going to be more along October-ish.
Okay, thank you.
Any other things? Not hearing anything, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting of the Project Connect Community Advisory Committee at 6:21 p.m. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Mr. Barthmuller.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.
You're going to be missed, Peter.
Thank you.